this is interesting. So the Lakers, we know the Lake Show tonight. You got the Bucks in tipping off in a little less than 40 minutes here. But we're still looking at the trade, right? The Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis trade, Nico Harrison out. And there was a story that came out that the Lakers were already unhappy with Anthony Davis before the Luka Doncic trade. This is from a reporter named Brett Siegel, who wrote about with the Davis injuries and kind of how they thought that they've kind of reached their peak with him, even though they had won a championship with him. It said he only played in 36 games a season after winning a championship due to calf and Achilles strains. And then Davis only played in 40 games during the 2021 and 2022 season because of a left MCL sprain and a right ankle sprain. The very next season, Davis missed 26 games with a right football injury. Throughout these 3 years in which Davis was constantly in and out of the lineup as a result of many injuries, internal concerns about the way Davis took care of his body began to loom large, multiple league sources said. There were points before the 2024 and 2025 season when Davis's side and his representation would not see eye to eye with how the Lakers wanted to handle his injury, recovery, and prevention. In the offseason, Davis wouldn't always communicate with the Lakers, and his fitness levels entering training camps were said to be well below average. Go on to say, there were moments in the preseason where we wondered if he had even worked out at all in the summer. One team source who was granted anonymity to speak freely said of Davis entering the 2024 and 2025 season, he would come back, go through warm-ups, and either sit out to be with the training staff or basically half-ass what the team was doing. When he first got here, that wasn't the case. He was always willing to go above and beyond, and he was one of the first in the gym, last out of it. Over the years, that changed, and he almost became content in a way. It was clear he was out of shape and didn't seem to care what the higher-ups were telling him. Something definitely changed. Wow. Interesting stuff. Now, to me, it feels like Anthony Davis had some Shaquille O'Neal in him. And what I mean by that is, we know Shaq, if you're going to draft like the top 10 NBA players of all time, is there anyone that wouldn't draft Shaq with that group? Right? Like Shaq was absolutely elite, physical freak. He's the MDE, the most dominant ever. But he did not maximize what he had. Right? He was an 18-wheeler and he stayed an 18-wheeler. Right? And that was great, but he never took it to another level, right? I mean, he never just he was always awesome, right? He was always awesome, but we know that he didn't maximize like Kobe Bryant did. Kobe got 100% of what he could be. Shaq probably got 80%, and Shaq will probably be the first guy to tell you that. I think Anthony Davis, after winning that title in 2020, probably said, "Hey, I'm Anthony Davis, and I know I'm elite. We know when he's healthy, he's a top 5 to 10 player." But there was always kind of questions. Is he the number one on a championship winning team? Did he carry himself that way? Did he lead by example that way? I think this is more proof that that wasn't the case. It'll go on to say that their final straw for the franchise was Davis and his camp held a meeting with the Lakers before the 2024 offseason was in full swing, sources said, to stress the importance of him having more help, specifically at the center position. It was clear that Davis's demands were to play fewer minutes at center and for the team to leverage assets in order to bring in another experienced center who could directly impact their championship pursuit. From the point of view of Davis's camp, the idea of making such a move was to preserve his overall body health, as wear and tear had resulted in several of his soft tissue injuries through the years. This wasn't seen as a necessity from the Lakers' point of view, as their focus was on preserving future assets and maintaining cap flexibility for 2025 with LeBron owning a player option. Los Angeles did not completely shut the door on pursuing more front court help as they attempted to do so multiple times before the 2025 trade deadline, but this was not viewed as a core need of the franchise. Instead, more focus was on Austin Reeves emerging as the third key talent alongside James and Davis. This decision to continue to have Davis play heavy minutes with virtually no front court help, and that did not sit well with his camp, creating more friction and tension leading into the 2024-2025 season. As the conversations between Nico Harrison and Rob Pelinka continued to progress and the dream of acquiring Doncic started to look like a real possibility for the Lakers, Pelinka, Buss, and other key members of the Los Angeles front office began devising the logistics of the trade. This is like too good, right? While this was happening in mid-January, Davis continued to make it known that the team needed another center, a narrative that had worn thin on the front office. If the Lakers needed any other reason to want to move Davis other than acquiring Doncic, they got it when his frustration led the 10-time All-Star to make it clear to management that they needed to be willing to do what it takes to not only keep him healthy, but also put him in the best position to win a title. And it said, finally, multiple higher-ups in the Lakers organization took exception to Davis's words, which basically claimed they did not put the team in a position to succeed like they did during the team's championship run in 2020. With conversations Pelinka held with Harrison already advancing and this relationship with Davis reaching a point of no return, the Lakers pulled the trigger on the historic trade. What Davis said in this interview was essentially the last straw, as one team source said that put the nail in the coffin for his time in Los Angeles. So we also saw a report from Sam Amick, who talked about how frustrated they were. And look, Davis did his job, right? He helped the Dodgers. He helped the Lakers win a championship. His jersey's going to be retired one day. I don't think he'll get a statue. But look, there's a reason why he was Anthony Davis, right? He's the reason why when his jersey gets retired, are you going to hang his number up there? Are you going to hang some street clothes up there? And yes, he actually had been really durable in the last couple of years of his time in Los Angeles. But look, I loved Anthony Davis, and I like the fact that he got the Lakers a title here. They wouldn't have won one without him. But it's a beautiful thing. It actually is. Like, the Lakers, the basketball gods, I know for a fact that God's a Laker fan because you got Anthony Davis's best years. You got a championship out of him. And have you looked at him now? My man looks like he's been eating Dallas, Texas barbecue for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and a second dinner, and maybe a third dinner, maybe a fourth. Because clearly he's not taking care of himself. Clearly he's not on this quest to be the best player he can. He's got some Shaq-itis. And if you're the Lakers, yeah, maybe you cooled off of AD, but you did it because it was the right decision. You got Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is a better, younger, more marketable player, a guy that plays a position that's more entertaining to watch. It doesn't mean that AD was bad. Doesn't mean that AD was Kwame Brown. I mean, to me, this is like Leonardo DiCaprio. What does Leonardo DiCaprio do? He dates supermodels that are like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And then when they gets to 25, he dumps them, right? And it doesn't mean that they're not hot, right? They're still 25, right? But he wants to get a new one, right? And that's kind of what the Lakers did, right? They got another supermodel, and this one is a little younger, a little more in their prime. So I think it was a great move, and the Lakers lucked out, and they got Luka Doncic. Okay,